Happy week 152. We are here celebrating the fact that I'm not wearing a black shirt for a change. I think this might be the first video where I'm not wearing a black shirt. But week 152, 152 weeks since COVID took over our lives in March of 2020, the Spring Team and Real Estate Raccoons have been bringing you this market report every single week, delivering the context and doing the work that other agents are either too lazy to do, don't know how to do, or don't want to do. Sorry to throw some shade, but there's just a lot of content going around out there that is creating way too much anxiety, that is so out of touch with reality that it's insane. This is the reason why this blog exists at thespringteam.ca. It's the reason why I have been doing this for 152 weeks in a row without stopping. So one more of these, please. The best sound to ever exist. So let's get into it. Week 152. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of what you're seeing out there from other content creators in the actual market and what's happening out there, and hopefully provide some context so you're not out there wondering what the hell is going on. Are interest rates going to go up? Are they going to go down? Are house prices going to go up? Are they going to go down? All of these things I'm hoping to get at right now. So first of all, you can get all of this information at thespringteam.ca/blog. Very easy to find. You can navigate through every single one of the 152 posts that I have on there. We have charts on there. We've got all kinds of information on very specific neighborhoods that you simply cannot get on any other publication, not even from the Toronto Real Estate Board. Why? Because I actually take the time to define very specific areas that where our clients are in the urban communities of Toronto, all the way up Kingston Road, in very specific communities. There are 5 of them in there right now. So please go and check them out. This is not information that is readily available everywhere. My job is to put this all out there and into context so it matters to you. We're not worried about what's happening in Canada or in Ontario or the GTA or in Toronto as a whole. I mean, I shouldn't say we're not worried. Of course we're worried. We're worried about what happens everywhere in the world. And that is the theme of this week's post, is that today's realtor needs to be more globally aware than ever before. No longer are the days are gone where you can just be that neighborhood expert and just know all about what's going on in a market like this. So you can have a crystal ball that is a little bit clearer than others. You need to be hyper aware of what's going on in the world, what inflation actually is, and understanding that interest rates are not the end all be all. They're not the only solution for dealing with inflation. And that's what I talk about in the blog this week. Is interest rates have increased to the point where they've essentially eliminated any excess demand for Toronto real estate. Thinking back to February of 2022, every single property, no matter what condition it was in, no matter where it was, unless it was an absolute dumpster fire, and even in those cases, you probably had at least one buyer within the first 5 days coming at you with an offer that was probably bigger than you expected. That is no longer the case. But there are some people that are looking at the multiple offers happening in today's market and saying, hey, we're back. But that's also not the case. So it's very important to understand the context of which properties are getting multiple offers today, which properties are not getting multiple offers today, which properties are selling quickly, which properties are taking a little bit longer to sell. So I'll just show you one right now. So I'll get into this actual market report in a little bit. How do I zoom in on this? Let's do this. Nope, not like that. Let's try this. Okay, forget that for a second. Let's go over here to this property at 495 Roxton Road. This property right here, last night, got 12 offers. And it's right here, this little guy in the middle here. It's a row house in Little Italy, one of Toronto's best communities. These are the awesome listing agents right there. They had 12 offers on this property last night, listed for $898. We don't yet know how much it's sold for, but this is a perfect example of the type of property that's getting a ton of attention. It is livable the way it is, but in reality, we've been in this home. It needs a full renovation. It's not a great property. It needs a little bit of love still. But it's totally livable the way it is, but somebody's probably going to come in there and fully renovate it. But it does look really, really nice. This type of property that's relatively turnkey, that has a lot of future potential for you to increase its value in one of the best neighborhoods in the city, this has never changed. This kind of property has sold well and will continue to sell well. It's no question of that anymore. So that's just one example of the type of property that is doing very, very well. Condos, although their pricing has fluctuated a lot less than houses, is not seeing the same kind of multiple offer activity in most cases, but has seen the most consistent sales activity. With houses, one day they're flying off the shelf, the next day nobody's touching them. Flying off the shelf, nobody's touching them. So it's very interesting to see what's going on in the market right now overall with these property types. But just because a property like 495 Roxton received 12 offers doesn't mean your house that's a little bit different, maybe on a different street, in a different neighborhood, in different condition, will be getting the same type of action. You shouldn't always be listing under market value to attract multiple offers. Although if you're a buyer, you're probably seeing a lot more properties listed and positioned for these types of offer night situations that were super prevalent pretty much for 10 years running up to March and April of last year. Well, more specifically, August is when things took a serious turn. But over the past few weeks, yes, you will see a lot of content out there from creators and realtors and all kinds of people in the real estate space saying that showings are up, multiple offers are back in some cases, and buyers are back in some cases. All of that is very, very true. And I'm not going to put on some ridiculous costume and like mock those people that are talking about that, because that's pretty disrespectful. And I see some people doing that out there, and it's wildly disrespectful. But what I will say is there are people out there who are not seeing the big picture and the potential for the market to take another turn, and not in the direction that you want it to if you are a seller. And that's when being globally aware really comes into play. Like right now, China being surprisingly fully opened after their really severe lockdown has really helped things get moving again in terms of production. The cost of shipping goods has come down. The cost of lumber has come down. There are trades today that need work that were previously overwhelmed and charging exorbitant amounts for their labor. Prices of that has come down a little bit, but general household operations are still really expensive. Food is still really expensive, but gas is not as expensive. So there are a lot of things that have changed in price that have resulted in some positive inflation numbers, but we'll have to really keep a close eye on that to see if that continues in the coming months, to really see if we are going to actually avoid this recession or dig into it. The Fed in the US is making an announcement today. They might have already made it. I haven't been paying attention this morning, but they are predicting some good news on that front, and another baby hike, which is new for them as well in terms of their interest rates. So if that happens, that'll just be some more positive news. And that's what all of this activity is all about. Right now, we have a lot of buyer activity, a lot of offer activity, and a lot just more positivity in the air. And like I said in last week's video, that's on the back of a lot of positive news. The stock market's been rallying for a couple of weeks. Crypto's been rallying for a couple of weeks. Bitcoin is at a price point that people didn't think it would get back to this quickly. And last January the 25th, the Bank of Canada announced a 25 basis point increase, which is the first time we've had a minor increase like that since the very first increase back in March of 2022. And then they also said in that same release that although they are going to continue their process of quantitative tightening, making it harder to access money, they did say that they may not need to have a further increase in interest rates at the next announcement in March. But that is a big maybe, because that is, if you read further beyond that sentence, and it's very obvious that some people didn't, that's contingent on employment numbers coming in under unemployment numbers coming in stronger than expected, and also inflation numbers coming in stronger than they expect. So there's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes in that scenario. There still is a possibility of another interest rate increase in March, but we'll have to wait until we get closer to March to decide whether that's going to be a reality or not. There are people making calls way too early on that, but there is a lot of positive news, especially with bond yields pulling back, making some of the fixed rate mortgage products a little bit cheaper. So, there is some great news out there. So it's opened a window for sellers to take advantage of a market right now that we haven't seen in a little while. So if you are a seller who was previously on the market and didn't sell your property for whatever reason, now might be a good time to try and get back to the market and give it a try again. Because I think you'll have more showings this time, and I think you might actually get that number that you want or need right now. I just don't know how long that window is going to be open for. That window could be open for another couple of weeks, could be open for another couple of months, but I suspect it'll be open until at least the next rate announcement, which is March. So meaning you don't have a lot of time to get your property ready for market. So I would probably reach out right now to discuss what getting your property ready for market looks like. And just to kind of put a little sales pitch in there, at the Spring Team, we're full white glove. So you're sitting in your house right now, wherever you are watching this, looking around like your house is so far from being ready for market. We will take it as is, bring our packers, our movers, our repair people, our everything, and make it what it needs to be to go to market. And all you have to do is hand us the keys. We include the cost of all that in the commission that we charge you. I don't ask you for any money up front, just so that's clear. Anyway, so getting back to the point, you do have a small window right now to take advantage of a market that has improved based on the past few months. The holiday season, December, November, were terrible, terrible months to be on the market. People were just overall pessimistic. There wasn't really that much good news to talk about. There was a chance that COVID was going to come back and affect our holidays again. So it was not a good time to be on the market at that time, but now it is. If you're a buyer, listen, the bottom of the market is behind us, and I will stand firmly and die on that hill. The bottom of the market is behind us. Not that we're going to go on some sort of big upswing, but I really feel like all the major deals to be had have already been had, if that's a way I can say it. The major deals that were available in the resale market have been had, they've been bought, they've been taken advantage of. They still exist today at prices that are cheaper than February, but anybody that was in any sort of panicked position has already sold. We have seen over and over and over and over and over again that Toronto does not have panicked sellers. We just do not have that. You will also see a lot of content out there with agents and other professionals talking about power of sale properties. And I've talked about this in previous videos before. Please let me make it clear. They're getting their numbers wrong. There is no way to actively search for power of sale properties unless you manually enter the seller's name and search via the seller's name. And if you type in power of sale, guess what comes up in all of Toronto, Durham, York, and Peel? Toronto, Durham, York, and Peel. That is not a small area. That's a massive area with millions of homes. There are 34 search results that come up. Of those 34, two of them, the seller's last name is Power. Okay? Two of them are power of attorney, meaning they are owned by people that can no longer make decisions for themselves. So somebody has signing authority over them. That's not a panic situation. The bank's not forcing that sale. And another 3 are from a development called Power. It's called Home, actually, on Power Street. So really, we're talking about 27 power of sale properties from amongst millions of homes. This is not a distress situation. This is not a signal of anything. This is not an indicator of some sort of market correction that is still to come. Hope that's clear. And if you need some help there, please let me know. I will send you this full list. If you follow me on TikTok, I put a screenshot of it over there. I'm Aramammo everywhere. Aramammo on Instagram, on TikTok. You can find me in those places. So I'm going to leave it right there for now because I've got to get to work. I've got 2 new agents starting today. That brings our spring team's got 15 agents right now, and I'm pretty pumped about that. And we are continuing to hire. So if you are an agent that is watching this, we have so much support, so much training, so much awesome opportunity here. I want to talk to you. I'll say yes to everybody for an interview, but I'll leave it right there. Springteam.ca/hiring. You can see all this stuff on our website there if you're interested in working with us. Otherwise, let's celebrate the fact that I'm not wearing a black shirt today, and let's take some applause for that. And I will see you in week 153 next week, and hopefully you're subscribed to the Real Estate Raccoons on YouTube. Hopefully you're getting this weekly newsletter. And ara@thespringteam.ca. My inbox is always open for your questions. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Tuesday. I'll see you next week.